All right, what's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It's a Lowdown. Woo, buddy. It's been an interesting few days, especially for me. Lots of weather in all of these forecasts, and I've kind of alluded to some of it. Kind of going back to, what was it, Thursday, I had the 5-0 in one day. Had another winning day on Friday. I'm recording this on Saturday for Sunday, so I can't give you the details of the games that have already happened. But I feel like we've provided some decent information and things to look at. And maybe you guys look at some of this stuff already, but Thursday was interesting because I felt like we found the right spots. And this weekend, it's even more and more weather that's factoring in. July gets ridiculous, so does August with the heat, the wind, everything. So one of the things I did point out was in the last podcast was about the Coors and or Rockies, Diamondbacks, and Coors Field. And all the things that this game encompasses. And so I said I didn't fade it. I just didn't make the play with the Cardinals. Jesus, listen to me. I am so tired. With the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies, they had bad pitching, phenomenal hitting weather, and then you add in Coors Field. And it's like, what do you expect to happen? It had a 12-run total, and there was 75%. At least some of the consensus reports I got, it was over 70% of the money on the over. And so me being a contrarian, I try to stay away from those spots. And I've tried to be better at trusting some of the weather when it's telling me hey, this is a no-brainer. Because to be fair, outside of just really random incidents, and that's baseball sometimes where pitchers are on or they're just not knocking runs in, these games go over all the time. And I'm just telling you, it's phenomenal hitting weather in Coors all weekend. So you can do with that what you want. You can check to see if the over hit on Saturday. As I said, I'm recording this. We haven't got the results from that yet. But yeah, it's been crazy. And I listed the 10 to 11 stadiums that had just phenomenal hitting weather. And there's another one today. I was texting the people at the company saying, hey, can I put up a 7-game package? Because there's so many games that I liked, and I'm the type of guy that I list everything I like, and then I start scratching off plays that, because if you're betting too many games, you're asking for trouble. The juice is just constantly going to add up, and I think you limit yourself when you go crazy. But if I find a day that I feel is just amazing, yeah, I'm going to hammer that day, and Saturday was one of those days. So but looking at today's slate, a couple things I want to get into. First off, please click the like and subscribe buttons. Make sure you're checking out all the premium plays we have going on over there, including myself. I've been killing it in baseball. Hitting it 59% so far, and I think that's going to continue to stay at that pace or go up with the way that things have gone. So, like I said, I'm very confident in what I do. The WNBA, same thing, hitting it 67%. With those two things being the only ones going on. I've hit the last 3 NBA games. Man, I really am patting myself on the back. It's been a nice little stretch, and trying to capitalize on it and take advantage of some of these things and not get ridiculous and start over betting and doing things that you wouldn't normally do. But I've tended to ramble for the first few minutes on this, just talking about different things. But yeah, check out Coors. We're going to talk about Coors again today. It's going to be the free play yet again, just because it's just hard to get away from with all the things that are going on in those games. Everything points at the same thing. And sometimes you just got to ride it, man. There's too many good things happening for that total not to be hit. And again, my weather play of the day on Friday was the Wrigley game, and it went over. If you watch the first inning, you're like, well, hell yeah, we just scored a ton of runs in the first inning. And then they laid up some zeros there, double plays, goofy things happening. And then we saw the home runs. I talked about Julio Rodriguez hitting a home run and how much I like the right-handed power bats for Seattle on Friday. And the 3 big right-handed power bats, in my opinion, Garver, Raleigh, and Julio Rodriguez. You could throw in Randy Arozarena, but he's so inconsistent at times that I didn't even put him in that mix. But he had if you bet him over 1.5 bases, or did he hit a home run in that game too? I can't even remember. But the game flew over the total late. It went over at about in the 7th inning, but they did make you sweat a little bit. But I picked Julio Rodriguez, and he got a single, and the other 2 guys I just mentioned both hit 2 home runs in that game. So when I'm talking about great home run hitting weather, it's there. If you get the ball lifted, and we talked about right-handed bats in certain situations, and here we go. So let's just dive into this because we have some early games on Sunday. The earliest game is the Orioles. We're not going to talk about it. But it's like an 11:30 start. So if you're betting that game, obviously it's something you want to check out. We have a couple of noon games. So I'll try to keep my glasses on and I feel goofy in them all the time because it's just, and you see me doing the toggling thing. All right, let's start off with the Tigers and Rays. Wind is in at 7 miles an hour. It's 97 degrees and humid there. We have Casey Mize and Zach Liddell. It's really good hitting weather as far as the heat goes, with the wind blowing in these light hitting teams. And I've talked about how much I like this Tigers lineup when you get the lefties in there. I think Kerry Carpenter does something to that lineup. Riley Green hitting against right-handers. He's got 17 bombs already. Don't even go look at how many home runs Cal Raleigh's hit. It's just ridiculous what these guys are doing this year. And they were saying that the balls were, that they've doctored them a little bit with the stitching so they don't carry as well. And these guys are saying, we ain't having a problem with it. In this game, even with the way the weather is set up and how hot it is, and that could definitely take over. I just watched the Orioles against the Rays, and even their good pitchers were struggling in that heat. I'm going to lean under here. I'm more than likely not going to be on this game unless something changes drastically. That heat's ridiculous. And because it is an early game, you could have some issues with shadows in the middle of that game or even early. So, again, I think the under is a solid lean. I'm not sure I'm going to be on this game, period, though, but wanted to talk about it. Pirates and Rangers. And every game I'm going to talk about has some sort of weather impact, and trying to be careful of the games that I know I'm going to really like. It makes it difficult, but some of these games are they're just too good not to talk about, and finding other ones like this, the Pirates and Rangers. It feels like it's 100 degrees there. You get 100 degrees, I don't know how much it matters. 8 miles an hour out, Jack Leiter versus Bailey Falter. Bailey Falter has been, surprisingly, he's kind of figuring it out. It looks like, as I wait for some negative regression for him, his whip has stayed down, his ERA is solid. Jack Leiter, on the other hand, puts some guys on base. I think you run into trouble there, especially when it gets hot and you're putting guys on base and the ball is going to carry. I would lean towards the over in this Pittsburgh Detroit game. Or excuse me, Pittsburgh. I can't even speak today. Pittsburgh, Texas. Detroit was in the first game. Ooh, maybe I should just restart this. No, we're just going to keep rolling because I've already recorded too much. But with this, the Rangers being outdoors, there's some power in that lineup. I know they've struggled to score at times, so have the Pirates. But with 100 degrees and it feeling like that, I think these pitchers are going to have a hard time. And if you get to the Pirates bullpen, hooray, because that feels like runs. All right, let's go to the Twins and Brewers. This is a weird one because we have winds at 16 miles an hour from right to left. It's 92 degrees. When you get winds that strong and they're going one way or the other, it does make it difficult for the outfielders. And it is, when it's saying right to left, it could still turn and be towards left field and benefit a lot of those right-handed bats. So in this game, I'm going to tell you that, I'm going to lean towards the over. It's Quinn Priester and David Festa. Festa can strike out some. Priester's been okay. I'm still waiting to see what type of pitcher this guy's going to be. I don't think I have enough data to say whether he's going to be this or that. But I think both of these lineups can hit. You're talking about, I'm sure if you check the stolen base, I go to a lot of Swish analytics stuff and check stolen bases and different things like that, especially when I'm doing daily fantasy. I'm not going to bet a guy to steal a base unless I see something outrageous, but it does kind of give you an idea of the pitchers that can't hold runners on. And when you see, for example, I didn't realize this before he'd come to Baltimore, but last year, Corbin Burns, he sucks at holding runners on. There's a lot of guys in this league that just don't care when you get to first base, and teams run all over them. And with the way that the heat is, guys on base and scoring position, I think those runs can add up real quick. So, I would lean towards the over here. Now, we're going to get to this final game. It is Coors Field. It is the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. So everything I said about all these games this weekend, we'll have an idea if the weather was really telling us, hey, you idiots, this is too good to be true. Just take it because it's there. Again, more people betting on the over on Saturday, the same way it was on Friday. But the conditions are just ridiculous. 90 degrees, wind out at over 12 miles an hour. It's Brandon Pfaadt, my favorite name to say in baseball, and Antonio Senzatella. Who do we want to start with? That fat number that Brandon Pfaadt has, a 5.38, 1.39, and don't forget, he has a 1.39 whip. Don't forget, he did have a game where I think he gave up, what did they call it? An all hitter instead of a no hitter. I think he had 7 hits and he gave up whatever it was, 6 runs in the first inning, maybe 7, and never retired a batter. That's greatly affected that. He hasn't been pitching well this year, but I do think it's a little chunkier than normal because of that one outing. On the other side of it, Senzatella does not strike out anyone, and he hits bats. And on top of that, He puts on 2 runners every single inning. His whip is 1.97. But if you don't like his whip, his ERA is 6.72. He stinks. And with the conditions, wind blowing out, it's Coors Field. How do you not take the over? The free play is going to be the over. And I hate talking in foregone conclusions, but like everything lined up on Friday, everything lined up on Saturday. Again, haven't seen the results of the Rockies game today on Saturday when I'm recording this. But it does kind of show you what's happened in these games. And sometimes there are things that are too good to be true, and sometimes it's just there for the taking, and I think this might be one of those spots. So I'm going to give out the over here. Even with all the money coming in on it, it just looks like a premium spot to attack. So again, check out all the premium plays over at pickdawgz.com. I'll be putting out videos every single day. Sunday night going to Mumford and Sons and seeing Good Neighbors with some buddies. So I'll get in my spaceship. I'll be dancing like nobody's watching and having a great time. So hopefully you guys have a great Sunday and we continue stacking up these W's over at Pickdawgz. Baseball has been betty good to me. So has the WNBA and the NBA Finals. And oh man, do I think I have the play for the NBA Finals tonight. So go check the premium plays and hopefully we'll hit some more games today and keep this heater going on that's been happening. And on top of that, hope you guys have a great Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast. Thanks.